We're now going to have a look at menu number 6 for SEM 5. So for the seafood chowder, we need the following seafood and these ingredients. For the pule ala keev, we need the following ingredients. For the sauce that we are going to serve with the pule ala keev, we need these ingredients. As a part of the plate presentation, we are going to make some peas puree, so we need the following ingredients. For the Brussels sprouts, for the roasted Brussels sprouts, we need the following ingredients. And for the Parisian potatoes, we need these ingredients. So to begin with the plan of work, we are going to clarify some butter on one gas in which we are going to cook the Parisian potatoes. And on the other gas, we are just going to blanch the bones with which we are going to make the sauce for the keev. Then at the table we are going to finely chop the garlic. This garlic is going to be used to make the butter which we are going to put in between the pule ala keev. This has to be done in the beginning as the butter needs to set inside the fridge. Side by side on the gas, if you see, the bones are being cooked and the butter is being clarified. Again at the table we are continue to prepare for the butter. So we're going to finally chop some herbs. Now whichever herbs you have fresh, you can use oregano, thyme, marjoram, rosemary, sage, whatever herbs you have. So we're going to finally chop some rosemary, some thyme. Now this butter needs to solidify inside the fridge, okay? So this has to be done really in the beginning of your plan of work. Then we have some parsley. So we're going to finally chop some parsley, and then we're going to assemble everything for the butter. So in a bowl we are going to add butter. Now this butter has to be at room temperature. It needs to be nice and soft. It can't be melted, it can't be hard, okay? In that we are going to add some pepper. We are going to avoid adding salt since the butter already has salt. We are just going to add some finely chopped garlic and the herbs. To this we are just going to add some zest of lime, and then we are going to mix all of this together to make one mixture. Now this butter has to be rolled in a cigar shape. So either it can be done on a silver foil or it can be done on a butter paper. Okay, so here we've taken a small piece of butter paper. We are putting the butter in a piping bag. You can even use a spoon, or you can even with the help of a spatula put the butter onto the butter paper, because the butter paper is going to help us to give the shape to the butter. So then you roll this. Now the length of the butter should be the length of the breast, okay? You have to keep that in mind. So you press both the ends, and then this goes inside the fridge to set. So this will take about 1.5 hours inside the fridge to set completely. Okay, so if you have 4 portions of chicken breast, you're going to make 4 pieces of the herbed butter. So by the time we were preparing for the butter, here you see the bones have been completely cooked. Okay, so we'll strain them out and keep, and the butter has got completely clarified, ready for cooking the Parisian potatoes. Now we are going to work at the table. At the table we are going to process the seafood. So here we have a pomfret. So we clean the pomfret first. We take out the head, we take out the fins, we take out the tail, and then we are going to fillet the pomfret. Okay, so we are processing the pomfret here for 2 reasons: A, for garnish, and A, fish to be put inside the soup. So once we take out the fillets, which is basically boneless pieces of the fish, we are then going to process it further. So we are cutting one fillet into half. So first we are working on the garnish of the soup. So here we want a square or a rectangular piece of fish for the garnish of the soup with the skin on. So first we're taking out the square or rectangular pieces of the fish for garnish, and what all is left back, we'll take out the skin and use that in the form of dices, which is going to go inside the soup. So you take out piece for the garnish first, okay, and the rest of it will be cut into dices and put inside the soup. So here you see there is no wastage. So once the pomfret has been processed, you keep all of it onto a plate. Next we are going to work with the prawn. Now here you can use any size prawn because you're going to cut them into dices at the end of it, but we have used jumbo prawn because we are going to use one prawn for garnish. So to cut into dices, you have to just simply take out the shell, take out the vein. Okay, for the garnish, here we want to keep the shell on with the tail, so we've just taken out the head. Okay, with the help of a toothpick or a sharp tip of a knife, you can take out the vein from inside with the shell on. Here we have cut the prawn into half. This is for garnish. So this way also you can take out the vein, because you can see the vein with the tip of the knife, you can take it out. So we are going to use this as a garnish for the soup. So we'll keep this aside. The rest of the prawns, which are de-shelled, de-vein, are going to be cut into dices. Next we are going to use squid. So we take out the skin of the squid, wash the squid from inside, and then for garnish we are going to take out rings of the squid. Okay, so one squid we'll take out rings, the other squid we will cut into dices, which is going to go inside the soup. So once all the seafood is processed, keep it all onto a plate. Here, if you see, the bones are completely cooked. Now we'll make a sauce out of it. So in a small saute pan, you will add the bones. You will add some red wine, some balsamic vinegar, some rosemary, thyme, and a little bit of salt, and let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes, so that all the flavor of the chicken enters into the red wine and the red wine reduces. Moving on to the processing of the pule ala kheer. So we have got the chicken breast, so without the bone. So we are going to just make a butterfly cut. So slit the breast into half horizontally, okay, and flatten it lightly. Then we are just going to sprinkle some salt, some pepper onto the breast of the chicken, and in the center we are going to put in the hardened butter. Cover the flaps of the flattened meat and then just give it a nice shape from the outside. So this is the classical shape of pule ala kheer. Okay, it's a classical dish, so this is how it is made. This will go again inside the fridge to set, or for the butter to firm up even more or even further. Before putting it inside the fridge, again to give it a better texture, okay, or a better shape, we are going to roll it inside a silver foil and keep it inside the fridge. So you see here the sauce has got reduced. Okay, if you have any leftover aromatic vegetables, that can also go into the sauce. Okay, on the other side we've taken some milk, we've added some raw chicken bones, some onion, celery, peppercorns and some bay leaf. So we are going to flavor the milk to make the seafood chowder. Then at the table we are going to roast the Brussels sprouts. So we've cleaned some Brussels sprouts, taken the outer first layer of the Brussels sprouts away. Put the Brussels sprouts onto a roasting tray, sprinkle some salt, some pepper, drizzle some olive oil, put in some pine nuts that they also get nicely toasted along with the Brussels sprouts. Nicely evenly coat the Brussels sprouts with the seasonings and the flavorings, and that goes inside a preheated oven at 50% humidity, 150 degrees Celsius for about 10 minutes. Here the milk has got flavored, so we'll strain the milk so that we can use this milk now to make the bechamel. This is optional. This is just to increase flavor. You can even use plain milk, or you can even use a combination of milk and stock. For the Parisian potatoes, here we are going to peel the potatoes first, okay, and scoop the potatoes with the help of a Parisian scooper. The size of the Parisian potatoes depends upon the kind of presentation you want to do. Okay, so we have used a medium sized Parisian scooper. We're scooping out potatoes. The rest of the potatoes can be converted into mash and used in some other dish. Here the butter has got clarified completely. So on one gas we've taken a small deep vessel. Okay, we put the clarified butter inside it, and then we have put in the potatoes. So the potatoes are basically going to cook completely in fat. Okay. Then next to it on the gas we are going to make the soup. So we have to make a basic bechamel. Okay, so we're going to add butter, heat the butter, add flour. Here we won't follow 1:1:10 because we don't want a sauce, we want a thick soup. Okay, so the quantity of milk is going to be more, but the process is the same. You make a white roux and then you're going to add in the milk, whisk until it becomes thick. Don't add seasoning as of now because you're going to add cheese. Okay, so you can taste the soup at the end and add in salt. On the other side, okay, the Parisian potatoes are getting slow cooked, very low flame. Then on a non-stick pan we are going to saute the seafood that's going to go inside the soup. Okay, so we are adding the pomfret, the prawns, the squid which has been diced up all together at one time because it won't take much time to cook. Saute in butter so that adds up more flavor. You can add in some salt, and then once the seafood is cooked and once the bechamel is cooked, you can add in the seafood inside the hot soup so that all the flavor of the seafood enters the soup. Mix it really well and keep it aside. Moving on to the clams, once you wash and clean the clams, in the same pan that we had sauteed the seafood, heat up some oil, put in the clam, add in some white wine. You can add in some garlic also at this point of time. Okay, and then close the pan at once so that in the steam of the wine, okay, the clams are going to cook, they're going to absorb that flavor of wine and they're going to open up. That will take around 5 minutes, not more than that. So you see here the potatoes are continuously being cooked. So because the potatoes are cooked on a very low flame, it takes at least about 45 minutes for the potatoes to cook. So you see here the clams have opened up. That liquid also is very flavorful, so you can add that also inside the soup. At the table now we are going to process the ingredients for the peas puree. So we have shallots which we are going to thinly slice. We have garlic which we are also going to slice. Do not waste time in finely chopping it. It's finally going to get pureed. Okay. Then in a non-stick pan or in a saute pan, we'll take some olive oil. In that we are going to saute the shallots and the garlic. Don't turn it brown because we don't want to discolor the peas puree. Lightly saute. In that we are going to add in the peas. So these are frozen peas. Okay, so they are already cooked. Saute it well. Add some salt. We are not adding pepper because we don't want to discolor the puree. Toss it lightly. Cool it down completely before blending. Just before blending, after it has cooled down, we are going to add in some mint leaves, fresh mint leaves for flavor, for color, and then some fresh cream. Do not add mint leaves while the peas are hot, otherwise they are going to turn black. Add cream, mix it well, and then blend it into a puree in a blender. And the puree has to be very fine. So you see this, it has got blended completely. Now we are going to strain the puree. If you want a thick puree which you want to pipe it, then you have to add less cream. Okay, we are going to spoon this puree onto the plate, hence we've added a little more cream. Just to finish and to give a glaze to the puree, we are going to add in a small block of butter, whisk it, and then keep it aside. The peas puree is ready for presentation. The red wine reduction with the chicken bones that we had kept, that is complete. Okay, all the flavor of the bones have got into the red wine. Okay, now we are going to strain this completely. Okay, it is still going to be very, very thin because there is no thickening agent added. Okay, but then this liquid is absolutely full of flavor. Okay, and that color has come because of the wine and the balsamic vinegar. This we'll keep it back on the gas range to reduce further. Now on the other gas range, again we'll take a non-stick pan, enough amount of olive oil, and then fry the seafood. So first we will put the prawns, then we put the fish skin side down. If you want, you can dust the skin with some flour to get that brown color, and then we'll put in the squid rings. Okay, all of these three types of seafood will not take time to cook, so around 2 to 3 minutes on each side, and all these types of seafood will be cooked. Okay, take them out. The squid rings will cook a bit faster, so we've taken them out first. Prawns and the fish will take around same time to cook. Okay, once they are cooked, take them aside too. Now if you want, you can give it a nice brown color, okay, by dusting all the seafood in flour. You can also use an entire prawn, okay, and use that as a garnish, but then that's difficult to consume. Okay, so you see here we are adding the clam meat in the soup once the clam is completely cooked. And then we are going to add in the grated cheese. Now this has to be done when the soup is hot. Okay, so either you reheat the soup and then you add in the cheese and the clams. Here we preferably add cheese at the end because we don't want the soup to split. Okay, see here the wine has got reduced, the wine sauce rather has got completely reduced. On the other gas we are boiling corn, which we are going to add to the chowder. Okay, here now the last thing in your plan of work is to fry the keev. So we are dusting it, putting it in egg wash, and then crumbing the keev. Alright, do a double coat of the crumbing because you want to ensure that the keev doesn't break in the oil, because there is butter. We don't want that butter to release inside the oil. The butter has to release onto the plate when you cut open the keev. Okay, that's what we want. Fry the keev in oil, okay, medium hot oil, because we don't want the outer covering to cook, okay, and the meat to stay raw and the butter to stay firm. Okay, it has to get hot and cooked from within, from the center. All right, here the reduction of the sauce is put in a pan, and we are going to monte it with hard butter, and you will form an emulsion. Okay, so that's your sauce, which is ready. Side by side the keeves are being fried. Also what you can do is you can fry it in really hot oil and then cook it inside the oven. That is also an option. Okay, so once the keeves are completely cooked, you will take them out from the oil, and it has to be served at once. Okay, for the soup presentation, again we are going to place all the pieces of seafood in a soup bowl. So we have the pomfret, you have the curled up prawn, we have clams, This is also a kind of presentation that is usually done for bouillabaisse, which is like a mixed seafood broth. We're going to add in the squid rings. Just to give a crunch, you can also fry the squid rings. Okay, so you'll get a nice crunch. But here for the crunch, we have made a crisp made out of corn paste. Okay, so we boiled the corn, made it into a paste, added flour, some parmesan, salt, pepper, and made it into a nice crisp. Just like you make the parmesan crisp, but in that you're going to add in a paste of corn and some flour. Some corn kernels here and there. A few sprigs of fennel, just to give that contrast of green, and fennel goes really well with seafood. We have a nice petal of blanched tomato. Again, will add to the flavor, will give that slight acidic content to the soup, and it also gives a nice color to the entire dish. And then finally we are going to add in some corn chips or corn crisp rather, here and there, or you can even add, one medium size entire piece of the crisp. So that's the garnish of the soup, and then this goes in front of the customer, and then you pour the hot soup in front of the guest. Okay, so you see here, major focus on the presentation of the dish. So then you have a completely off-white plain colored soup where your focus is more on the garnishing part. For the main course, again we have a couple of components here. So a basic white main course plate. We have a ring mold. In that we're going to place these beautifully cooked confit potatoes, Parisian potatoes cooked in fat. We are going to place them here and there, so they look really dainty and pretty onto a plate. So around 5 or 6 potatoes. Again, you also need to understand the balancing of the dish. Okay, then we're going to add in the roasted Brussels sprouts. So they've got a nice charred look on the outside. They're completely cooked. They're small. They don't take time to cook. And then the pine nuts also are nicely toasted. So again, around 6 to 7 pieces of the Brussels sprouts should be enough as the vegetable accompaniment to the protein or to the main course. After you place the Brussels sprouts, here just to fill up the gap, okay, we've placed one more potato. So you see here, so the ring mold is just going to support all the components of the dish inside, so it gives it a nice round shape. Then we are just going to put in the pine nuts in the small gaps between the potatoes and the Brussels sprouts. They can also be put from top. They can also be put around the dish. You can even crush them and put them around. Just a squeeze of lime again for flavor here. Okay, this is actually for the Brussels sprouts. So if you want, you can squeeze lime to the Brussels sprouts separately and then arrange them in the ring mold. Then we are placing some microgreens here and there. Again, you can use baby basil leaves, you can use baby mint leaves, and then you pick up the ring mold and you have, the circular shape of the potatoes and the roasted Brussels sprouts. Okay, so we have radish microgreens here. Okay, we have some amaranth microgreens. We're going to give that dark maroon color. So we are placing that here and there. Again, when you're actually doing this, in a restaurant service, this has to be done really quickly because you don't want the components to go cold. Okay, so it's usually done under a hot counter. Okay, but it has to be done quickly. Then we are just going to spoon out the pea puree into a straight line. If the line has not gone straight, like I told you, paper napkin, a must in your toolkit, comes into play. Okay, to actually give your sauces a very nice, straight, neat look. Then we are going to place the hot Kiev. Now here you have to place the Kiev whole. Okay, it's a classical dish. You cannot cut it out, beforehand and then serve it, because the butter is going to ooze out. Okay, so the guest will cut the Kiev and the butter will ooze out. All right. Then we will pour the sauce. Now actually sauce is not really required for a Kiev because the butter itself gives that kind of moistness to your entire dish, but then this sauce goes really well with Kiev, and this sauce when mixed with that garlic flavored herbed butter tastes even better. Okay, so you see here we are showing you the cutting of the Kiev. Okay, so the butter, see that the butter is completely oozed out at once, and then you get that gap inside where the butter was placed. Okay, and then that's how you can enjoy the entire meal. So a few photos of the soup and then of the main course. So without the sauce, and then we have with the sauce. So that's pole ala Kiev with Parisian potatoes, roasted Brussels sprouts with pine nuts, pea puree, and a red wine and a balsamic reduction. So that's menu number 6. The vegetarian version of the pole ala Kiev and the chowder will be shown in a separate video. Thank you.